Everyone right now might be telling you to be in cash, get out of the market, it's all going to zero, but there's too much going on, lots of positive news in the background, and I for one think the best of the market is yet to come, whether that's the UAE pledging a huge investment into the US, as well as the M2 liquidity provide, and more importantly the SEC's first roundtable. It's all pointing to a bullish cryptocurrency spring and summer. I want to break down some of those key things for you in this video and ultimately give you my view on where I think the market is going. So if you want to hear more about that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Remember, every day we bring you the latest and greatest in cryptocurrency content, so make sure that you are part of the channel. With that being said, let's get into the video. So on that backdrop of the SEC stopping their pursuit of XRP, they then went the day after, not 24 hours later, and held their first crypto roundtable to reassess regulatory framework. Now, this is a bigger part of the SEC being more pro-cryptocurrency and less regulatory enforcement, and I think this is all a very good thing. So the US Exchange Commission held its first crypto task force on March 21st to discuss regulation, which ended in the consensus that crypto needs regulatory clarity in the US despite diverging views among the panelists. And I think everyone's in a world where actual regulatory framework is important, particularly if you're going to be launching tokens, running companies. What we don't need is oversight. This isn't a thing where we need massive oversight committees. This is about innovation. This is about fostering that innovation as opposed to stifling and crippling that innovation. I think this is where the current SEC wants to go. Now, remember, Paul Atkins will be up against the Senate House next week to give his view or go through that due process of becoming the head of the SEC. So that's going to be interesting how both parties kind of take that. Discussion did extend to what characteristics of digital assets, if any, justify different treatment under the law. Crypto advocates at the event suggested that beyond asking whether something is a security, the more relevant question may be whether certain securities merit exemptive relief. So lots of stuff on the table, and I think really paving a way for adoption into the cryptocurrency markets, and you're going to see more and more. This is why we're seeing some cool things come on the back of it. Japanese real estate firm Open House now accepting XRP, Solana, and Doge. This is good news. You can once again buy a house with your XRP. More of that in a separate video. But there is also very much a desire, view, however you want to call it, that the best of the market is yet to come. And these are very bullish indications. Now, this is specifically related to what have we seen in previous cycles. Now, you've got to understand, previous cycles didn't have that huge institutional money. We'll take a look at what's been going on with those in just a minute. But we did have a very similar pattern for the previous three halvings. And what we've got right now is, well, we are underperforming. We are behind the curve. And maybe we're just in a delayed cycle theory. Lots of people were in the world that we thought the market was going to pump. Institutions were going to flood into the market. And all of a sudden, they were going to allow retail to just basically exit their positions and we would all move and live happy ever after. That simply hasn't happened. Remember, institutional investor at the minute is simply people like you and I taking ETF products, taking a safer route rather than going 2 feet in and seeing what happens. But what does this tell us? Well, if the markets were to move at the similar rate we've seen for the previous three halvings, we could still be en route for $250,000 Bitcoin, maybe even a little bit bigger than that. Now, a lot of things has to come in our favor, and this could then play out towards the back end of 2025. For many of you that have been part of my live stream, you know that I'm predicting mid-August for the top of the bull market with a end of the market cycle coming in and around the 20th of October. So this once again would perfectly line up to some of the charts and some of the technical analysis that I've been looking at for this market cycle. So hold on, let me know in the comments what your top market cycle predictions is, see if it aligns to this one. Now, there is more things coming. The liquidity is growing. M2 specifically. Now, you know we don't really like this measure, but it is important when you look at previous market cycles to see there back in 2015, 2019, and now in 2022, 23. More importantly, into the modern day 25, 26. M2 liquidity on the move. What does this mean? It means Bitcoin and cryptocurrency should, if everything follows the same suit, start to move to the upside. And we actually do see that on the US net liquidity proportion, which is very bullish indeed. Charts coming in just a second. And then to top all of that off, to sprinkle a little spice onto it, the UAE is announcing a $1.4 trillion investment into the US economy. Now, I must stipulate, this is on infrastructure, semiconductors, energy, and American manufacturing. Where I think this becomes interesting is we already know the UAE been offering licenses to people like XRP. They're interested in their sovereign wealth fund getting involved in Bitcoin. Who right now is the biggest person or the biggest advocate looking into the Bitcoin market and the crypto market? Donald Trump. He's literally announced that the US will be the global hub of digital assets. And all of a sudden, within a couple of days, the UAE is announcing a massive investment into the US economy. Now, this could be very bullish, not only for AI, but potentially for cryptocurrency as well, whether that be cross-border payments, transactional payments, whatever it's going to be. Again, thinking about where it's going could all be very bullish indeed. So lots of positive things coming out of the market. Where's the price of Bitcoin? What's it going on? Well, look, we're hovering still around that 84,000, trending about 84,300 down to maybe 84 flat, with the rest of the altcoin market still struggling. ETF inflows are very interesting today as they start to come through. BlackRock once again buying big, and I think this is important to reference. And we continue. The full data hasn't pulled through yet, you can see there, but look, we've had a solid week of inflows for institutional investment. This is a good news story as well. So keep your eyes peeled. Those institutions might be in a position now where they continue to buy as this more bullish sentiment coming out of the US president is a good thing. And as the rest of the globe watches, particularly China, there's rumor mill, they are going to be looking to increase their yuan stablecoin supply and making sure they're prepared to buy as much Bitcoin as possible. There is not much in it. In fact, there's a very interesting picture right now that shows just how close this is. The United States here at 198,100 Bitcoin, China 190,000. Could this be the next arms race? Instead of weapons though, it's Bitcoin. Let me know in the comments down below. But very bullish news today, lots of positives. Look out for a very interesting weekend. And next week, I'm sure, will just be as fun. As always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to check the links in the description as always if you're looking to trade cryptocurrencies, or simply subscribe to the channel or check my project out, Marbit. Definitely worth your time. Until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.